Hello everybody, my name is Kenneth and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be checking out, this is going to be the first of two videos, but today we're going to be checking out Shadow Krimja by Beast. Beast YDJ on YouTube wanted to see my reaction to the High Life performance. And originally I think I was going to do the MV and then the High Life performance. However, because of the age of the music video, the only subtitles are auto-generated. So my new plan, just because of how I often pause warning, I'm autistic, it's how I react. I pause even, like it takes me an hour to watch a 15-minute video in my own time sometimes, genuinely. So because of that, rather than trying to do the music video, the lyric video, and the high live in the same video, I am going to do the music video and the lyric video in this video, and then in a separate video I will do a reaction to the High Life performance. I have on screen Beast YDJ's comment from I can't remember what video it was from. I think it might have been my reaction to the debut. I think, but basically I screenshotted it because I got information on the two members that are not in the group anymore. And obviously, with this being an older music video, they are probably in it. I think they are because I think I saw them in the lyric video because it's color coded lyrics. And so I wanted to keep that on screen for me, just in case. I don't want to. I know one of them is a more unsavory character, and so I will try and keep my commentary about them a lot less for obvious reasons. But obviously, I still want to acknowledge the fact that at this point there was more than just the four current members. I always say a number account, and then I'm like, did I forget anyone? I don't think I did. Um, um, but yeah, I don't know. Numbers are not good for me, and so it's going to be interesting before we get into this because I don't know how this is going to sound, but because of what I know about Hyunsung, from Beast YDJ's comment, I am aware that they lean more to hip hop sounding songs, and that's a big reason why they left is the musical direction. Being kind of so different between them and the other members. Um, um, so it's going to be interesting to see how this originally sounded versus how maybe they change it up or switch it up. Maybe even like how they allocate parts in the high life in the next video. But yeah, um, without any further ado, I've already given you my pause warning. If you continue to watch after this, please don't complain about my pausing. I will pause as much and as little, or as little, as I feel like doing. So yeah, we're gonna get into this. Um, if you're here for that, then let's go. Before we get started, I do just want to note that this is one of the earliest music videos, like K-pop music videos, that I've ever seen that has a 15 age rating. I don't think I'm aware of seeing any other like older K-pop because what's this? This is like 12 years ago now. But I don't think I've seen an older MV with kind of such a high age rating. So it's going to be interesting. Haven't checked my volumes because I don't want to be spoiled on how the sound is. So if you see me adjusting, that's why. But without any further ado, let's check out Shadow 그림자. Ooh. Already, sorry, I know I'm already pausing. As I said, I pause as much as I want. I love the piano melody, and there sounds like there's like an effect on it, and then the vocal itself over the top. It's got like a phaser sound on it, so it sounds like it's literally, I mean, phasing, but like that kind of like it's moving forward and back in the kind of in the space. Oh, I'm excited. Um, it's gonna be interesting.
매일이 cloudy no light 강물 stay at night 너 떠나버린 그때부터 어쩌면 maybe 내 존재 자체가 없어졌지 back in the day 화창한 날씨 화려한 몸빛 항상 네 곁에 있었지 내가 있었지 내가 Give me the light.
That is such an interesting. I'm going back, but that is such an interesting tonally way to begin the song, especially how light that kind of transitions to there before the next section. It's interesting, all the iconography of this, the way, obviously, to keep in keeping with the title, you've got this very stylized. It's not just, oh, there's like a darker video. It's very hyper stylized. There's gothic elements. There's the skulls. There's the weathering on the actual kind of set itself. There's an intention to create contrast between the light and the shadow, even behind. And I think this is Junyoung. Even behind him, he is standing out because of the deliberate. It's not even like a shadow. It's just darkness. It's just black. And so there is, it's almost like it guides your eye to that middle. Obviously, I'm not fluent in Korean. There are, as I said, there's only the auto-generated subtitles, which are going to be completely wrong because it's not going to have anything to go off. I loved the way it sounds. I loved the chord. I loved the way the chords sound with the dun 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 dun. That use of the two chord. It sounds like in the background there's the two chord progression there, which is really it's actually really good for hip hop because it allows hip hop kind of sounding parts in songs as well, just purely because you've got very often with rap parts, there's not a great deviation in melody. Like with obviously singing, you can go from very low to very high, and have mid range and all that kind of stuff. But with rapping, it's either monotonous, or the range of pitch is very, very controlled and limited to a set specific part of the range. And so having that kind of chord progression, you are not, you're not kind of making a spectacle or not of that, if that makes sense. And so you're not risking any clashes in harmony or anything like that.
곁에 있었지 내가 있었지 내가 Give me the light You are my sunrise 너 없는 난 아무것도 아냐 넌 내 마지막 You're my last 언제까지나 You're my last 네가 불길이라도 난 뛰어들게 너와 나의
I'm gonna come back because I want to talk. It's interesting because I'm assuming that's Hyunsung that we just saw there. Kind of before Yosop came in. I really, ironically, I like the pairing of their voices. They have very similar, not the same, but similar vocal tones, and they are in similar spaces vocally, which allows them to have that transition between them very, very, to be very smooth. I find it really, really interesting. Because seeing kind of what Beast YDJ said about how they wanted more hip hop kind of songs, the irony of them taking and if I'm getting the names wrong, I'm so sorry if I'm switching the members. I apologize. But it's ironic if that is Hyunsung, that he likes hip hop songs but is singing a vocal part. It just feels very very ironic to me. He sounds great, but yeah, it's just very, very ironic to me. I'm loving the visuals of this. It's very 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 stylized, and it's very it's pulling in from a lot of elements.
아냐 넌내 마지막 유말레스 언제까지나 유말레스 네가 불길이라도 난 뛰어들게 너와 나의 저 하늘을 걷게 물들인 저 이별을 어서 지워줘 더 이상 내가 다가갈 수 없게 너를 바라볼 수 없게 네 곁에 머물고 싶어 because I'm shadow shadow 안전하게 원하고 있는데 눈부셨던
I like that move. That little. Oh, I like that. No, I want to say that again. I really like. It's interesting having choreo in this. Not because I don't think like choreo would fit with it, with the song, but because of how the music video has been so far. It's interesting how they've decided to kind of incorporate the choreo scenes, specifically the scenes, not the choreo itself, into the music video. I feel like they've allowed almost set the scene first, with the verse and even leading up to the chorus. And it's almost like, and I'm just, it's almost like this is partially a dancing time section. On Beast YDJ's comment, I think it was, we were talking about how the song changed up, and it was just a dance section, and they called it dancing time. And I wonder if we're going to get an actual dancing time, or if this is going to be the dancing time of the song, the chorus line, just because of how the music video has been set up so far. So it'll be interesting to see that. I want to see that choreo again though.
더 이상 내가 다가갈 수 없게 너를 바라볼 수 없게 네 곁에 머물고 싶어 because I'm shadow shadow 안전하게 원하고 있는데 눈부셨던 그때로 나 돌아갈래
Oh no. I love the way that we just, I'm gonna go back to that, but I love how we had quite it's quite a tame chorus vocally at the moment. Obviously maybe we're gonna have like a kind of a more what's the word, more empowering chorus at the end. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's the only word I can think of, because it feels quite tame at the moment. Like, and then we have Yosop here, really breaking out of that with those high notes, which I found really interesting. I love the makeup styling of these dancers. By the way, the other non-member, I think they're non-members, but the other, I'm gonna call them non-member dancers.
I'm shadow shadow 안전하게 원하고 있는데 눈부셨던 그때로 나 돌아갈래 그림자처럼 항상 함께였던 아름다운 네 미소가 날 비춘다 because I'm shadow shadow shadow
It's also so interesting as well, because what I think I was trying to say with the chorus, it's quite low tonally, and it's almost, again, in that intention of we're creating contrast between two elements. So because of that, because obviously the song's called Shadow, and what the song feels like, if well, obviously I can't tell you what they're saying at this point in time, it feels like there's maybe Shadow is referring to secrets, a hidden side of someone, not knowing the whole part of someone, you know, maybe and stuff like that. Maybe that's kind of what it's going to be about. We'll see, obviously, when we get to the lyric video. But because of that, obviously, in this you've got the visual contrast in the music video. You've got also a vocal contrast in the chorus line, because a lot of it feels quite mid to low range vocally, as though that's kind of our shadow, our foundation. And then you've got these, again, from Yosop, these little higher bits, these falsetto bits as well. The fact that they're in falsetto rather than like using a mixed voice, which is stronger than just a falsetto or head voice. It's almost like you, they want you to take notice of those moments because obviously the overwhelming kind of tone of the song is this shadow, is this darkness, and also with the difference between higher tones and lower tones. Often higher tones are quite bright sounding, so you've even got that kind of layer there as well. It's also interesting so far, and forgive me if I've missed going as we've gone through this. We've seen obviously the members and we've seen this female love interest, but we've yet to see any of the members like together sharing the same scene. I think in the beginning we had the member and the female love interest in the same scene, but they weren't in the same camera shot, I think. So it's interesting. There's a degree of separation there. Separation. There's a degree of separation there.
그림자처럼 항상 함께였던 아름다운 네 미소가 날 비춘다 Because I'm shadow.
It's interesting. So I know I'm sorry. I'm already pausing again. But the female love interest also has. It's almost like maybe I got it wrong. Maybe it's not about the members. Maybe it's about, or it could be about both. But maybe it's about the female love interest as well, or instead of. It's either one, the other, or both. Also, I loved Doojun's high note there. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've only heard his more middle register and maybe his lower register. But it was nice that it wasn't just Yosop getting the high notes in that chorus there.
Because I'm shadow. Early in the morning, 오늘도 역시 the sun is shining.
Ooh. Oh, the little choral element. I wasn't expecting that. I was focused on the visuals and I just heard that in the background. Yeah, we definitely, as I said, we're pulling from so many different sources here. And it's just so, it's so well thought out. And I don't say that to be like, oh, I'm surprised at that. It's just the depth of it. It just intrigues me, the influences that were had for this music video. I guess, if that makes sense.
Because I'm shadow.
Also, that harmony.
morning, 오늘도 역시 the sun is shining. 빛은 사라졌지 널 데리고서 저 멀리 Give me the light.
That's really interesting. The use of the visual of letting the owl go, the bird go. It might be an owl. I don't know. But the bird letting the bird go versus the alternate scene that we see that's interspersed with this, where the character brings in the woman and kind of holds her close. It's almost like that. If you love them, let them go on the one side with the owl. And then on the other side, it's almost like the inner desire of the person not wanting to risk it and wanting to keep them as close as possible. And so there's a sinisterness to that side, I think. Again, in keeping with the shadow aspect that we've got throughout, because it's that where's the line between wanting to keep someone close because you love them, you care for them, and then that line between that and obsession and control. Because even here with the owl sequence, the owl is following a command. It doesn't necessarily have its own autonomy, and so there's all of those kind of layers that we could talk about and unpack, which is so interesting. About the song, I'm loving how the song is sounding so far throughout this. It's interesting schedule. It's interesting structure-wise that the most hip hop kind of sound of the song has been at the beginning. I don't know if we're going to come back to it, um, or if it's going to be more vocally led going forward. But I'm loving how it's sounding, even if I'm not able to understand everything that's going on vocally, lyrically rather. Also, I love Gi Kwang's red hair. It's also interesting that his hair is the only pop of color. I mean, I guess you could argue that there's an orange tone, a sepia, a light sepia tone, to um, the owl glove, and even maybe in the actual dark outfit he's wearing. But yeah, I find it interesting, especially because of what red represents. You know, passion. In some countries, luck. You know, in some cultures, luck, danger, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
빛은 사라졌지 널 데리고서 저 멀리 Give me the light, light, light You are my sunrise 너 없는 날 아무것도 아냐 넌 내 마지막 You're my last 언제까지나 You're my last 네가 불길이라도 난 뛰어들게 너와 나
Interesting. I liked the before we go into the next chorus. I liked the shot of the two of the same characters walking together. I loved how Dong-eun's vocal tone. I think I said this in The Killing Voice about how you could tell that his just because of his his neck I talked about a lot, the way he was approaching those high notes, and I think if I remember rightly, that was because he was singing a part as well that was not necessarily his. So it had been given to him rather than him having it kind of all of the time. And it kind of proves that his vocal tone is very thick, and it's much, especially in comparison to Yosop, for instance, it's very, and I'm using that because obviously Yosop comes after here. It's a lot thicker and heavier, and even I'd argue a little bit darker in tone than say Yosop, and so you've got this really interesting dynamic where for Dong-eun, because obviously we're transitioning into the chorus now again. Well, I think we are anyway. We have, because of where the chorus is placed versus where this has been placed, we do have to start making that that little jump up, that little bridge up, literally. And so to hear him go a little bit higher there before we pass on to Yosop is very interesting. It sounds still very comfortable for him, but it's just interesting going for that, from going from that more low tone to a little bit of a higher tone. It's just very interesting. Again, with the visuals of this, it's so stylized. I hesitate to call it black and white because it's black and white adjacent, because there's a lot of monochromatic coloring, but there's also this little tinge of red throughout. I can see it in the shadows, and again in just like in, I think Gi Kwang's hair was more dyed, but here in Yosop's, was that Yosop? I can't remember where I went back to. I'm sorry, but in this member's hair, even though it's a darker hair color, there's still a tinge of redness in it, which has been kind of pulled out by the styling of this. And I love the way the whites are almost not necessarily true white, but they're like the highlights in the video. They're bright enough that you can't necessarily see the details that were in them, maybe, but they're not like ooh overpowering, because the overpowering color, and not color but shade, is the literal shade, is the shadow, which is so interesting. And again, I'm really in love with how this looks. This could honestly be a really good color palette and visual set for a vampire drama or a vampire film or something. Um, obviously, like Twilight went with quite like a tealy kind of blue colorish color palette, but I feel like this is more your kind of your dark, mysterious vampire kind of coloring. Um, I love that move. Yeah, so that's what I was meaning with the transition there. Also, it's interesting. And it might not be Yosop that's doing it. I'm only assuming Yosop because of the kind of the way the parts have been laid out during the section, but whoever is doing there's a higher harmony underneath, and again it's there and it's supporting Donghoon's kind of main vocal line, but it's mixed in such a way that it's almost like a whisper. It's almost like you notice it, but you could ignore it if you didn't have the right headphones, because you couldn't, it wasn't as forward placed in the mix compared to the main vocal line. And so with again, it's that contrast between shadow and light, bright and dark. It's just been running through this entire music video and song so far. It's almost again like secrets, or a side of someone that you don't know, or a personality that you didn't know a person had. If you don't know who they are and you're just looking at them, through a frosted glass kind of thing. Yeah. I like that move. I guess we're going into a rap section now. A part of this chorus, and again it's more visual this time, that I really I'm drawn to is the use of the mirroring, the visual mirroring. Obviously you've got the kind of the two sides, right, of the same person or the same people, but just the way that it's set up, it creates this it's ironic because it creates this image of, this is all I want you to see, but because it's shadow rather than light and brightness, and ooh, it's almost like they're wanting us to see, and I'm saying the characterization of the song is wanting us to see these darker parts and only these darker parts. It's almost like your kind of your bad boy thing of like, you don't want to get involved with me, it's dangerous, that kind of thing. And so the mirroring there, it's almost like you're not giving this other person, and both characters appear to be doing this now, but you're not giving the other person the chance to see the good in you, because I don't know, you want to push them away, or you don't want to be vulnerable with them or something like that. Really, really interesting use of that mirroring concept. Ooh, the visual. I will say, if I'm getting members wrong, if because I'll be honest again, I don't know Hyunsung and Shin Young's roles. I haven't. I'll be 100% honest. Hold my hands up. I've never looked at their roles within the group. I haven't like looked at their K profiles or anything. Just because obviously them being former members, I haven't had a focus on looking on that. I don't often look at the roles generally anyway. But because obviously they're not a part of the group anymore, I haven't been like especially looking at focus. But yeah, if I've got it the wrong way around and that's Hyunsung, I apologize because he seems to be getting a lot of the hip hop kind of sections of the song. I will say, and I apologize if I'm complimenting the controversial person, the really controversial person, but I did enjoy the vocal fry at the end of that little piece. I think the biggest focus for me during that was the change up in the sounds. I loved the glitchy synths that was playing between it, playing in the accompaniment. Much more. Obviously, again, I'm not as able to follow the lyrics as I'd like to be. But yeah, I liked the way that the song kind of changed up into this more erratic synth sounding accompaniment in the background. Yeah.
Oh, 너를 잊는다는 건 나 역시 지워진다는 거 너와 나의 저 하늘을 함께 물들인 저 이별을 어서 지워줘 더 이상 내가 다가갈 수 없게 너를 바라볼 수 없게 네 곁에 머물고 싶어 because I'm shadow 안전하게 원하고 있는데 눈부셨던 그때로 나 돌아갈래 그림자처럼
Maybe that person disappeared.
아름다운 네 미소가 날 비추고 because I'm shadow because I'm shadow
First of all, I just want to talk about really quickly. I know we're almost at the end. The way I think are we in London? This looks very. That looks like the Gherkin in London. I'm not gonna lie. So are we in like a? Because we're definitely obviously in a cityscape, but that definitely looks like that's Big Ben. Or is this meant to be like a ruined England? Like a dystopian England. They got it right with the cloudy skies. Although this summer has been testing that, but in general, the UK is cloudy skies. So perfect locale for that. But what I was going to say is, and I've noticed it throughout, but I don't think I've commented on it. The little specks of dust and ash, the way that the what light is there is illuminating them, and it just makes, again, with the way that the music video is very stylized, and I know you probably could make a drinking game out of how many times I've said that word, but just how it's been the cinematography of this has been put forward. It's it looks so dramatic. It almost looks like snow, but because of the coloring of the music video, you know it's ash, and it evokes kind of a sadness to me that I'd say is backed up by again, I'm assuming it's London. That definitely looks like the gherkin and I don't know why I pronounce it like that. The gherkin and I actually don't know what that thing's actually called in real life. But that's definitely giving me London vibes. I wanted to say I want to listen to the end part again, but before I do, you guys might have told me this, and I apologize for forgetting. I don't have a good memory, but this era of Beast definitely feels that Yosop is the center of the group. He feels like he's been definitely leading a lot of the parts of the song. So I'm gonna be very I'm assuming that's a label decision. Obviously, Cube being their label, I think at the time of this, I'm assuming because all of the members are still here. But I assumed that the members, I assumed that the label had a particular vision of where and when each member was and was and is kind of thing in a song, and he definitely seems to be taking a lot of the vocal sections and just a lot of the sections in general, which I want to see. So back to my point, I want to see when we come finally to the high life, I want to see how we are going to see those parts maybe change, shift, reallocate things. I'm assuming the more hip hop sections of the song are maybe either going to be heavily toned down or even maybe removed. Maybe there's going to be some rewrites happening, maybe not. I might be wrong, or it might just be delivered differently. But that's kind of where I'm what I'm going to be looking at when we move forward. I just want to hear the end part before I give my thoughts and before we do all the lyric video and stuff.
Because I'm shadow, shadow, shadow. Because I'm shadow, shadow, shadow.
Interesting. Okay, so the reason I really wanted to watch that again is I really liked the just that little section. I really enjoyed the harmonies and the clearness. There was a separation around that because I'm shadow, shadow, shadow. There was an intentional like disconnect between that and the harmonies and even the rest. And then you've got that reversed piano that just gives you. It's almost like, to me, it's like the musical equivalent of smashing glass and trying to put it back together. That's which obviously we've seen that iconography in the music video, but that's just even just without that. That's how I imagine glass breaking or being disrupted or cracking, that kind of thing in my head. I've always had that image in my head when songs use that kind of reverse texture of a piano. Also, you've got that that sound of the wind, very post-apocalyptic, very dystopian, gives that real feeling of emptiness, and then paired with the mischievous female lead there, shifting between her. It's almost between her public-facing side versus something she's keeping to herself. It's almost like the veil has been lifted, but just a little bit. You haven't maybe you haven't seen the whole spectrum of her yet, the whole picture, as it were. But yeah, I really enjoyed the music video for this. We are going to check out the lyric video next. I am really glad that I decided to do it this way with the music video and the lyric video, and use the highlight and do the highlight video as a separate, just purely because of how long I've been talking. I do actually have a sore throat, so I'm gonna take a little drink before we move on. And before we move on, I do just want to say, I don't think I was debating how to do this in terms of like recording. I don't think I'm going to record the high live performance straight after this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this video for you guys, and then based on your feedback, use that to inform my thoughts going forward into the high life. Not obviously, don't spoil what the high life sounds like, but just like anything I've missed in the music video and the lyric video of the original version, just to kind of inform me, because I don't want to record this, then record the high live, and then say a bunch of all the same things, and then release both videos at separate times, because obviously I would, and then you comment the same things twice, being like, oh, we told you about this, we told you about that, and me being like, I recorded them at the same time. So I'm gonna, for that reason, I'm going to obviously finish it with the lyric video, and then hold off on the high live for the separate video after this has been posted. So I hope that's okay with you. But we are going to head into the lyric video. It is color coded slash member showing, member highlighting, I think. So we'll be able to see who does what. But yeah, I'm going to try and focus a lot more on the lyrics in this one. So without any further ado, let's go. Also, I know I posted pretty much exactly the same point. That melody, it reminds me of something. I don't know if it's like a similar melody that I've heard in like a game soundtrack or something, but it's giving something I've heard before. Not obviously, I'm not saying like, oh, they're copying or anyone's copying, not anything like that. I don't mean like that, but just the mood it evokes and the feeling I get. I just, if it's like a deja vu for me a little bit in terms of how it sounds, not what it sounds like, if that makes sense. I'm making that clear distinction because I don't want to be misinterpreted there. But yeah, also there's an interesting texture above the piano that I didn't notice in the drum. I thought it was Jin Hyung. Okay, so I completely misinterpreted where we were going lyrically with things. This is clearly a post-breakup song. The idea that you have is almost like that TV show movie romanticizing the relationship was perfect, everything was good, and everything was pretty, and then now everything's dull. You know, we've gone from eye-catching lights to and sunny days to shadow. It very, very interesting, and I like the way that we've got this lyric about maybe. There's a specific maybe there, almost like a self-awareness that the character in the story knows that everything wasn't perfect, but it was the imperfection that made it perfect, perhaps. Yeah, interesting. I find that interesting as well. The fact that the characterization loses their existence when they're not with this person or because they're not with this person. And then before Yosop comes in, we have this moment here. I was there. I was. It's almost like they're having to tell themselves that they're a real person, that they exist, and that they're. It's almost like they're having to justify their existence as not being conditional upon this other person, which is really interesting because, you know, a lot of, well, if you look at it from the other side, a lot of love songs talk about like the joining of two people, becoming one soul, becoming almost one entity, And so, of course, you could feel like you're losing yourself if you look at it from this side of the glass. I'm really loving talking about glass. This just this music video is really set up. The music video for this is really set up for that. But yeah, you've got this very existential way, I think, way of thinking of it, because you're looking at it at all levels. You're looking at it kind of top down, the sun. Then you've got kind of a little bit lower rain falling, and then we're moving into the actual individual themselves, which is interesting. The way that we've got those layers. Also, I forgot to say thank you, Beauty Light, for making this music video, for making this lyric video for us, for releasing this music video for everyone. Really appreciate it. This was actually the first one I think I saw, and I just liked the way that we had all the members, so I could see, especially the two former members, I could see them a little bit more. Just so I was aware of them, even if, you know, especially one is no longer in the group for reasons. But yeah, so yeah, thank you very much. Oh, I didn't hear before the lower tone as going, you are ma. Behind that you've got this almost vocal fry, ma. I can't do it because it's quite low, but it's ma. Again, the way that the vocals are arranged in this, even the line, Yosop's line of my shadow, even that feels like the descent, almost like an existential descent. So it's going through that. It's just so interesting to me. Yeah. Okay, so when I heard that at first, 1 second. When I heard no ne majimak, you're my last, my sensory processing, and this is fully me, I'm not criticizing anything, this is fully me, I thought he here was saying you're my last on my list, because I heard in a lot of my sensory issues, I mishear what people say, just generally, and so I was thinking at the time when I was reacting to the music video, I was thinking of like, you're the last person on my list, kind of almost like they were searching for someone or something like that. And obviously now I see the kind of very existential way we're kind of dealing with this characterization. I understand now that I very much got that wrong. I think it's really interesting, the use not just of repetition of the line, but the not just the repetition, but also the fact that obviously one line is in Korean, but one line is in English, and it's almost like you've got such a loss of self that your identity is completely gone. You know, I feel like if you really wanted to like throw out that kind of loss of identity, you could even have maybe added a third language in there, just to kind of to almost really really double down on that loss of self. So yeah, that explains the very deliberate dark scene, whereas like, oh, this is London, this is England. Yeah, this is a very is it codependent or dependent? One of the two. It's very feels very dependent anyway. Relationship. There is here, even if you're a path of fire, I'll jump into you. The idea of even if you physically hurt me, even if you say things that are horrible, even if you mistreat me, my existence is now so conditional on you, conditional to you, that I'll let bygones be. It's quite, when you think about it, it's quite a toxic relationship for this person, just because of how dependent they are on them. This repetition of "you're my last," until always, "you're my last." If this was a brighter sounding song, there would be, I feel like, an emotion of, or a feeling of, you're my special person. But because of how quite toxic these lyrics are, and they are quite toxic, there's no beating around the bush on that. Because of how toxic they are, there's almost a suggestion of like life support. Like if in the chorus it says like erase all of those dark clouds and stuff like that. If the relationship isn't repaired, if we're not back together, if you're not a part of my life in any way whatsoever, I will cease to function. I will cease to be. It's not just depression. There's a real abyss of emptiness, where this person's this character, and same person, but this characterization of a person has made this other person their entire consciousness so completely that you probably, if you were to meet this person as this character as a person, you wouldn't be able to tell them, they wouldn't be able to tell you their likes, their dislikes, their fondest memory. They'd be able to tell you their saddest memory, but it would be very vapid and shallow, the depth of their personality, because it's become so consumed by this romance. I'm loving the way lyrically we're getting told about this characterization of a person.
눈안 띄어들게 너와 나의 저 하늘을 걷게 물들인 저 이별을 어서 지워줘 더 이상 내가 다가갈 수 없게 너를 바라볼 수 없게 네 곁에 머물고 싶어 because I'm shadow 간절하게.
It's so interesting as well and I noticed it during the first part of this course here, but I had obviously been hearing it underneath the shadow part. The harmonies almost feel like the trapped person. So this person that's that's kind of just this hollow shell now. It's almost like the harmonies represent the old me, the old them. I say me, the old them, before this relationship. All of their wants, their desires, their and stuff like that made them, their personality that made them then. It's almost like they're trying to come out of this darkness, but because of the way it's mixed, it's almost like telling you it's already failed. You've already lost, because the overarching personality that's so dependent on this other person just doesn't want to hear it. I think it's obviously I can hear it because I've got headphones on, but it's almost a sound you have to look for. These harmonies, they're almost sounds you have to look for. And in the same way that the person has to look for their what makes them happy, what makes them an individual again, which is a really, if that's what the kind of engineers and stuff were going for, is a really nice touch.
원하고 있는데 눈 부셨던 그때로 나 돌아갈래 그림자처럼 항상 함께였던 아름다운 네 미소가 날 비추고 because
interesting there. We've got this is beyond just idolizing and putting on a pedestal another person. We've got total and utter deference and reverence to this person. They're a god to this character. They are literally the reason for waking up in the morning. It's not just oh, seeing your smile makes me feel jolly for the day. It's you are the sun that warms the planet around me and that makes my existence possible. And it's just there's in the separation, this person is just really looking for, this character is just really looking for guidance. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, they're looking for it in the wrong place, it feels like, because this other person maybe wants to move on, you know, the romance, the love, whatever potentially is gone, and they just the other person just wants to move on. And so this characterization of this longing person really needs to look elsewhere, but cannot. They're physically trapped, just like you would be in a shadow or a dark place. You know, you can't find the light switch to get out of the room you're in. It's the same kind of idea.
Early in the morning, 오늘도 역시 the sun is shining.
Little humorous moment for you. That's also a perfect metaphor for England. Although again, summer this year and the past couple of years has definitely been proving that false with how warm it's been. But I just wanted to interject that because I did hear it in the music video, but I wanted to confirm what the lyrics were before commenting. Again, I love that little choral element. Okay, so it's really interesting here because we've gone from talking about the person literally being the sun. Now there's a separation between the sun and this person. And so I'm wondering if that separation is caused because the sun, so kind of what I was saying earlier about like, when I see you smile, it makes me want to, you know, enjoy the day. If when the sun and the person were kind of one form, they were referring to something like that where they remember a specific part of that person, and then maybe because when they're around this other person they don't smile as much or they don't smile at all, that's why we've now got this separation. And so the light that they're actually talking about is happiness, this other person's happiness, and even literally just a smile, you know, that very literal representation of happiness. Interesting. Sorry, I got so involved there. I only have one little point. It's interesting that Matt underneath that I was talking about under Hyunsung's part is repeated here. It's interesting that it hasn't been credited, and I wonder if that's just, I didn't pay attention actually to when this video came out, but I don't know if that's just something to do with the fact that, because I'm assuming it's Junghyun, if it's something to do with because it's him, they don't want to credit that necessarily, or because it's background, maybe they don't want to. But it's just interesting that even though, because it would make sense if you paired Hyunsung and Jin-hyung in the first one, and then maybe in the second one you did Donghoon and Doojun, or Ki-kwang and Doojun. Do you know what I mean? Interesting, or something like that. Have a separate pair. So it's interesting, but it's interesting that we have the carryover almost. Just feels interesting to me. I'm sorry, I'm going back because I keep hearing this texture. It sounds like a vocal that's like obviously I'm not making a mockery of whatever's been said, but I can't tell you what it says, but it's like a quick interjection here or there. If anyone can tell me what that says, it definitely sounds like something's been said, but it's such a quick syllable, whatever it is. It's like I was thinking maybe it was like an imitation, like a mimicking of the word above kind of thing, the word in the vocal line, but it's so undecipherable to me. But if anyone knows, please let me know. Even there, da, 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 da. Dazzling is intentionally given this higher tone to it. You've got this quite mid-low range. It's intentionally, it's again falling like sunlight. It's like it's trying to get up to this person, to this. Again, if we're assuming it's a simple thing like a smile, it's going for that thing that it the character desperately wants. And so it's so interesting the way that is written. It's very clever. Ooh. I didn't notice all that production. You've got all these different vocal samples. I love that this is basically just, this character is almost like, if in the music video when the glass mat shatters, this is almost like the punch section. Like if you like punched a mirror or something, that feels like what this is. It's so interesting, that constant F, fall down, faded, you've got all of this, you almost feel the loss of self, especially with all the different samplings. It's interesting, the chord progression there, because if this was a different song, that chord progression to me almost, and it kind of does it here, but it does two things. So what this one does that makes sense for the song is there's this element of realization, which we've been having throughout. But the second part is this would be the culture change in the person, the characterization of the person, where the person would realize their sense of self, they'd realize themselves literally, and then, you know, maybe there'd be a positive ending or something. But that doesn't happen here. Instead, because again, like I said earlier, it's like you're trapped in a dark room. You don't know where the light is, you don't know where the door is, you can't feel your way out. The realization happens, but the second part doesn't. And that's so interesting. I love that high harmony in the background. I think I want to make a quick addendum to what I said earlier, because I think I was Englishifying the grammar too much. I think the higher parts in this are actually on the verb, and so it's the verb is what they want that person to do, I think, or something. I might be wrong, but I think Pichudon might be the shined on, and I feel like that's the part as well in that particular line, for instance, that they make higher.
그림자처럼 항상 함께였던 아름다운 네 미소가 날 비추고
Yeah.
Because I'm
So it's again this giving of themselves their autonomy and saying like I need it. I can't smile for myself. I can't do this for myself. I need you to give me the agency to carry on, which isn't really giving you agency at all.
shadow Because I'm shadow
I love the way that part is arranged. So good. Oh, it's so good, so good, so good, so good, so good. I know this is going to be a really long video. I hope anyone that sticks around enjoys all of my thoughts and stuff. You can tell that I care, is all I'm going to say. You can tell that I care about this group and about this song, just because of how much time I've given to it. Thank you again to Beauty Light for making this. They made this 6 years ago, so that would make sense as to maybe why they only gave credits, because I think it definitely was Chun Young that was doing that matte vocal fry thing underneath in those pre-choruses. But if you're not sure, I could understand, but also because of who it was, I can understand. So yeah, but thank you so much for making this lyric video for us. Yeah, this is a really really deep existential song, and the sad part is it's very realistic. You know, I talked about how you have these moments that feel like romanticized, or you know, like they should be in a TV show or movie. They're very realistic. These are things that do happen to people, especially like this is the kind of song that this isn't a song that for someone who's had like a 2-year relationship or something like that. This is a song for those people that have been in like 3, 4, 5 and above relationships, because I feel like 2, you're still in, you're just coming maybe out of the honeymoon phase of your relationship. You're maybe starting to see the cracks in it, but I feel like this is you've had such a long time with this person that there is a justifiable I am relying on this person a little bit more than maybe I should. I loved it. I loved it a lot. Just how it was arranged, how it sounded. It's going to be interesting seeing the high live purely because those rap sections, ignoring obviously the member that did them, because I don't want to give them too much credence, those parts actually added to the song quite a lot. I'm not saying that the song is not good without those bits, but those parts added an extra dimension to them. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they're removed, what impact that does have on the song, and if they're reworked, will they hit the same? Will they feel the same? And they could be removed. And actually, now thinking about it, if they are removed, I would ironically think of it as a good thing for the characterization in the song, because there would be a maturity to it. I'm not saying if the parts were kept that the song would become immature. I don't mean that at all. But there would be a growth in the character, like a potential for growth in the character of the song. That doesn't currently exist because there's so much anguish and anger in those sections. You know, from the talking about hating it to the fall down faded section, all of that together, it feels so trapped in its characterization that, like, if it was removed, I could see like ooh, there's potential for this character to move on, to find themselves, which would be an interesting development for the song's life, given kind of 12 years ago to now. You know, if you imagine that character as a real person, it would be an interesting development. I really, really enjoyed it. I honestly, you guys know that I was a bit taken aback by Bad Girl. I've grown to love Bad Girl, I will be honest. But this one for me was an instant. It's almost one of those like cheesy things of like an instant classic kind of thing for me. Like it immediately resonated with me a lot more. And so yeah, I'm really glad I checked this out before going in, because if I'd have just gone into the High Life performance, which obviously, as I said, I will be doing once I've posted this video, but if I'd just gone into that, would I have resonated with the song as much? Because there's probably not going to be lyrics. I'm only thinking from like the lyrical point of view here. Maybe not. I would probably have had my very original thoughts, kind of thing, which would have been entirely wrong, I feel. And so that for me would have dampened my experience, because you can live in your ignorance kind of as and I mean this in a general way, when you don't understand a song and you can say like, oh, I really like how this sounds. But if you don't understand what the song is about, sometimes it can, and obviously in my way, we were on completely different paths with that. So yeah, but this video is very long. I'm so sorry. My throat is sore. This is the only video I'm recording tonight, because I didn't realize just how engrossed that I would be in this song. But yes, the last thing I just want to say really quickly, the album artwork, I'm just seeing in the related videos, the album artwork for this, if it is the album artwork, the figure on the artwork actually looks quite robotic and almost like a statue. If not a robot, then like a statue, which is so interesting with, again, all of the breaking glass visuals in the music video and stuff like that. The idea of being so fragile, that like the wrong touch would shatter you and you'd cease to be. That is just so fascinating to me. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave any and all comments in the comments below. I know I've rambled. I hope you've enjoyed my rambling. If you did, you know, please talk to me in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye. Goodbye.